There's got to be a point in all of our lives when something happens and we become a seeker.
Hi, friends. Welcome to the Seekers of the Eternal podcast. My partner Jay and the Canadian half of the Seekers of the Eternal team is out at the Elevate Festival in Toronto this week. So I thought I would take this opportunity to record a shorter podcast, a shorter message, and talk about one of the mantras or the practices that I use when I feel like life is becoming a bit overwhelming, when I don't know what to do, when I'm feeling like I'm going to lose heart, or when situations become just a bit unbearable. What can we do during those times? I've been feeling it a lot in these last couple of weeks, and in friends that I've talked to, friends from the meditation group that I lead each week, the Wednesday Seekers of the Eternal group, speaking with friends there, and also with some of you on Discord, online, family members, other people that I've just been coming into contact with. We're all seeming to be going through some really difficult times right now, whether it's uncertainty about finances, maybe losing your job or afraid that you might lose your job, ending of marriages and of relationships that are tearing us apart. Perhaps, one thing that comes up for people that I've been talking to as well is, maybe you've made a big career decision choice in the wake of this pandemic, and you're doing more of what you really want to be doing in life. You're following your passion, but then as time goes on, maybe begin to lose heart and think that you don't have what it takes, or you start to have self-doubts, and just realizing how much that it takes to pull this off. And there becomes a really difficult time there where sometimes we just want to give up. We just want to go back, or we want to turn to things that numb us rather than things that help us. And I've been really feeling it, as with my Kriya Yoga meditation practice, it makes me more and more and more sensitive over time to be feeling all of the feelings that people are experiencing in the world, sort of feeling the weight of the world and feeling the terrors that people are going through. So I feel them myself, and I have tools that I use to make sure that I don't give up, that I don't give in to the death wish, that I don't sink back into the mud. And so I wanted to offer some words from my guru Paramhansa Yogananda, and a practice that you can do. This is something that I use when things are just too difficult to handle. One of the big teachings of the autobiography of a yogi and of all of the great saints, we talk about that when trials come to us in life, they're really not here to take us out. They're really not here to destroy us. Believe it or not, they are gifts from our Divine Mother to help us become the best versions of ourselves. You can think of, the Divine Mother, our higher self that is always prodding us toward becoming better. If life was always going smoothly, would we ever turn inward? Would we ever look for more? Or would we just be happy? Not happy. We would just have a sort of we would just go through life kind of sleepwalking through, and we would take these lesser pleasures and we would just sort of sleepwalk through millions, billions, trillions of lifetimes, never really learning and growing and becoming a true highest potential that we have, that our highest self knows, that can see how great we can be if we will face these difficult situations. I like to think of life, and this is something that I'm practicing more and more. I feel it really beneficial in my own thinking and the way that I'm approaching life. Wake up every morning and look at your life as if it were a video game. Things that come up in the day are just challenges in the game, and they're being thrown at you. This is like actually a really wonderful video game that it benefits you to play it, because every time you beat a level, you become more, you gain character, you gain wisdom, you gain understanding, you gain empathy, you gain strength. When you fight against a stronger fighter, Yogananda says, when we're wrestling against a stronger wrestler, we become stronger. So if you're being faced with really difficult challenges right now, that means that your higher self thinks that knows that you're capable of overcoming it. And if we resist it, if we numb ourselves, if we sink back into the mud rather than facing these challenges that our higher self knows that we have the ability to overcome, they're just going to keep coming. They're going to keep coming until we learn the lesson and until we actually turn inwards. Some of my teachers at Ananda were talking about a chapter of the autobiography of a yogi and comparing our experiences in life as a relationship of a child to a parent, say a child to a mother. The child, if it's just playing with toys, interacting with its friends, and going about its business, it never thinks of its parents or its mother. It can just go along for a long time playing with its friends, playing with toys, playing with an iPad or video games or whatever. But it isn't until that child maybe falls and bumps its head that it cries out for its mother. And in the same way, that's what's happening with us. We'll just be going on through our life, being distracted by all of the toys and the sense pleasures of life, until something happens where we are devastated. Someone leaves us, we lose our job, we fail at something, or we have a fear of failure, or life just becomes so overwhelming that we have to call out for our mother. And this is just seemingly the way that it works. And it's because our mother loves us that we are given these tests, these challenges, these difficulties. But they are hard. They are very hard. The pain, the suffering that we feel can be so difficult. And believe me, I can feel it. I can feel the world suffering. I had some really big experiences these last couple of weeks with feeling the suffering of the world in heavy, big ways. But I've trained for a long time to, when I feel these things, really, they are kind of like a warning light that goes off in your vehicle. And that warning light goes off when I feel these deep, painful, heart-wrenching, heartbreaking experiences. My training in Kriya Yoga and my meditation practice, it leads me back to chanting my mantra, keeping my gaze uplifted at the spiritual eye and focusing and feeling a sense of calmness. It's kind of like standing in the eye of a hurricane when it comes. And I can stand, and Yogananda says that calmness is invincibility. That with calmness we can stand unshaken amidst the crash of breaking worlds. And that's true. If we can remain calm and focused, the most challenging, terrifying experiences, you may have had these in psychedelic experiences or in your, in psychedelic experiences, those who are experienced psychonauts know that when really difficult situations arise, the best thing to do is to let go and to go with the experience rather than to try to fight it. Same thing in our life. We need to go with what is happening and realize actually that what is coming to us is to make us better, is to bring us something better. It's the matrix or the hologram, as Luke Brown talks about, the hologram is rearranging and shifting in order to give us a better a better experience in our life. And it looks terrifying at the moment. It looks scary and overwhelming, and we don't want it in the moment. We want to stay in our comfortable cocoon. We want things to stay the way that they were, but that's the one thing in life that we know, that it never stays the same. This is an infinite video game with infinite levels and challenges that come. And Yogananda also tells us that life is a nest of fun. Well, rather, he says, with God, life is a nest of fun. But without God, life is everything but fun. It is a nightmare. It is disaster. So when these trials come, they're asking us to focus on God. And I know I've had that word God is so loaded. I've had a problem with it, obviously, like everyone else has. You can replace that word with many different things that are more palatable. But in India, the word for God is Sat Chit Ananda. And Yogananda defines this. He says that it's Sat Chit Ananda can be defined as ever existing, ever conscious, ever new bliss. That is what we're referring to when I say God, the source of all creation, the cause behind it all, that true self, what we truly are. We are the dreamer. We are the game programmer behind it all. And that's what we're calling out to. We're going beyond our egos, because it's our egos that become afraid. It's our egos that are afraid of losing things, afraid of physical harm, afraid of losing wealth or losing things that we've stored up. But maybe those things are actually holding us back. Maybe that job that we have is holding us back from something far greater than we could have seen for ourselves. And our higher self is looking to offer that to us in this time. So if we resist and we become afraid, we're going to miss opportunities. But when we stay calm, sweet, and happy, when we approach every situation that comes with with even-mindedness and cheerfulness, if we're even-minded and cheerful when any situation comes to us, then we actually magnetize ourselves to attract prosperity to us. And our frontal lobe, our super conscious mind, our mind that can see opportunities, is awakened. But when we're afraid and we're tight, then that frontal lobe of our brain actually is not online anymore. And we miss opportunities. We're not thinking properly. We're actually doing ourselves a big disservice by worrying. And we're closing off the capabilities of our brain. I mean, they say that we're only using 10% of our brain. I think the saints are using 100% of their brain. So let's not close down any more of our brain function by worrying and being afraid and projecting all of these imaginary things that are going to happen to us. No, let's remove, if you're afraid of failure, remove from your mind the no-saying tendency. Remove from your mind any possibility that you will not succeed in what you have laid out to do. I've been using a affirmation from Swami Kriyananda for this. It's invoking the willpower and aligning our will with the will of the universe, aligning our will in becoming in harmony with the song of our life that is playing. When we're doing that, when we're aligning our little independent human will with the divine will, with the beauty that actually wants to happen in our life, when we're doing that, then that's when the real magic happens. That's when we really start to do things that we never dreamed possible, when this life becomes so much more beautiful. Not to say that these challenges won't keep arising, because they will. That's the video game that we're in. You don't want to play a video game that just is like you're walking through it with no opponents, with no bosses to fight. This is the game that we're playing. Remaining calm, sweet, and happy. A mind of cheerful mindedness and even-mindedness and cheerfulness, no matter what comes. And this is hard to remember. I actually made these coins that you can keep in your pocket. They're on my website if you'd like to grab one, play this game with me. And the affirmation that I've been using for willpower is that it's if I know that my will is I'm doing what I'm meant to be doing. I'm doing a good thing, right? I'm going after something. I'm using my energy to really go for it in life, to go after things that I feel I'm meant to go after, to be a service to others, to create beauty in this life, to provide for my family, to any of those things that we're doing. So the affirmation is, my will is to do that which is right to do. Part all you mountains that stand in my way. Nothing can stop my progress. And saying that until you have more and more conviction with those words can be very powerful. There's a book called Affirmations for Self-Healing by Swami Kriyananda. I'll post a link to that has many of these affirmations. They're so wonderful. No matter what you're going through in life, you can select one and use that in your practice. Another thing that's been very helpful for me in my days is, these are some more words that I heard Yogananda say one time. You can say to yourself, because nothing in life actually, nothing physical in life actually brings us happiness, true lasting happiness. It might bring temporary pleasure, right? Getting a new car might give you a temporary pleasure, but that wears off. Going on vacation might bring us temporary pleasure, but that wears off. Being at a loud, wild, fun party might bring us some temporary pleasure, but what does that morning after feel like? We sink back down to feel lower than before. This is the way it works. It's a trick. It's a trap. Life is a game. But these inner joys, they don't come with equal and opposite lows. These inner joys are they're non-dual. They don't come with a low. And so one of the things that I've been saying to myself, based on some words from Yogananda, is I'm happy because I'm doing my best. I'm happy because the love of God is in my heart. Because if you're happy, if you're truly determined to be happy, then nothing and no one in the world can make you unhappy. Nothing actually has that power. If you are finding that happiness, that true joy in your heart, that Sat Chit Ananda, ever conscious, ever existing, ever new joy, if you're finding that truly in your heart, nothing and no one No challenge, no trial, no loss of job, no loss of marriage or relationship or anything, no failure, no misunderstanding from others can make you unhappy. It really cannot. And also on the flip side, if you're determined to be unhappy, if you're determined to be worried and fearful and nervous, then nothing and no one in the world can make you happy. It's true. No riches. People jump out of in beautiful condos and commit suicide with tons of money and fame and fortune. It's not going to bring us happiness. So in this life, what we really want to do is, for when these trials shriek, when these worries howl at you, it's begging us to turn inwards. And it's trusting us that we have the ability, we have the strength within us to look inwards, to cry out for our Divine Mother as this child of God. That's what she wants. That's what she's asking for us. I wanted to end this little short podcast together, this message, with, this is a poem by Paramhansa Yogananda, and this is really what I wanted to share with you today. This is something that I use and I do. I'll explain a little bit how I use it afterwards. But close your eyes, quiet the mind, open the heart, and listen to these words by a fully awakened master that came to earth to help us, to show us. This is the training in the video game. This is that trainer that comes in and says, here's how you beat the game. This is what you do. You can think of the awakened masters as graduates of the college that have graduated with full honors and straight A's and have mastered all of the courses. They come back to show us the way and to teach us also how to graduate. So listen to these words. This is a poem by Paramhansa Yogananda called God, God, God. He says, "From the depths of slumber, as I ascend the spiral stairway of wakefulness, I will whisper, God, God, God. Thou art the food, and when I break my fast of nightly separation from thee, I will taste thee and mentally say, God, God, God. No matter where I go, the spotlight of my mind will ever keep turning on thee, and in the battle din of activity, my silent war cry will be, God, God, God. When boisterous storms of trial shriek, and when worries howl at me, I will drown their noises by loudly chanting, God, God, God. When my mind weaves dreams with thoughts of memories, then on that magic cloth I will emboss, God, God, God. Every night in time of deepest sleep, my peace dreams and calls, joy, joy, joy. And my joy comes singing evermore, God, God, God. In waking, eating, working, dreaming, sleeping, serving, meditating, chanting, divinely loving, my soul will constantly hum, unheard by any, God, God, God. Om. So I've used that poem and used the really direct message in that poem that when trials shriek and worries howl at me, drown their noises by loudly chanting, God, God, God. And what I do, you can go to a secluded place. I usually use my car, go in my car and I close the door and I drive to a place where no one can see me or hear me. And I just, until I can break this darkness, this fear, I loudly chant, God, 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 God. Yell it, chant it, scream it, and turn inward to God. Ask for help. And I know that if you do that with sincerity, that is what our higher self is asking us to do. I'm sending you these things, your higher self is sending you these difficulties. It's sending you this loss of job. It's sending you this loss of relationship. It's sending you this failure. Don't become angry. Don't become afraid. Don't become worrisome. But if we do, because we inevitably will, then go somewhere secluded where no one can hear you. If you've got a walk-in closet, clothes around you, go in there where no one can hear you and loudly chant, God, God, God. And I really recommend doing that. And this is a really pivotal time in our history. Things are changing so rapidly and fast and evolving now during this time. So it's up to us to keep ourselves elevated and to reach out to a community. Like, reach out to us if you're part of the Discord community here, if you're part of the podcast community here, reach out to us and we can help each other. The Discord community is a wonderful place where we're helping each other, a wonderful place that you can turn to where there's always someone there to give you a word of encouragement. So I highly recommend doing that. And if you're new to Discord, there are videos that we can send you to help you get acclimated to it and join us there. So please do that. And then when we uplift ourselves, if we truly turn inwards and turn to God in our times of desperation, then we can be there to help others too. Think about it. If we fall into despair, the swamps of sadness, or into anger, we're not going to be able to be there for our friends to help others. We're not going to be able to help ourselves, and we're not going to be able to help others. We're going to miss opportunities. We're not going to find that new opportunity that was there for our taking if we only would have stayed calm, sweet, and happy. And we can use these tools. Use the meditations. When it's really challenging like this, a meditation is too difficult. Go into your car, shut the door, drive into a remote area and yell, God, 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 calling out. So friends, this is just something that I wanted to share with you. I hope it's beneficial. Come join us in the Discord and let's talk more about these things. I'm there every Thursday Eastern Standard Time from 8 to 9 p.m. answering questions and talking to each other. We're also going to be doing monthly Twitter Spaces, AMAs. So look for those things. We can keep in contact with each other. We can keep uplifting each other. So blessings of joy and love to you, friends, and we'll see you next time.